For the first time in my entire life, I had a panic attack because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is too much.
Full icon energy, working the angles, 1, 2, 3. You got that look to a T. Full icon energy, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to Side Hustle. I am your host, Taylor Young, and the Chief Business Correspondent here at Queen City News. And Side Hustle is a show dedicated to learning about all the interesting ways people are making extra cash on the side and how sometimes that side hustle can become a full-blown career. And this week, I am so excited to welcome in Ashton Ferrazzo. Welcome to Side Hustle.
Thank you so much, Taylor. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
So we actually met almost 2 years ago on a story, and your side hustle really intrigued me and you were one of the first people I thought of when we were launching this show. Kind of get into what you do.
Yeah.
Reselling, wholesale. Talk about it.
It's a fancy word to describe something that's super basic. So people call it different things: wholesale, distribution, resell. It's really just reselling. So think of, you got something in your closet that you want to resell that you had from way back when it's used. And instead of giving it to Goodwill, you try to flip it. That's essentially what we have done for many, many years. So we're in the fitness equipment business. The business has significantly expanded since day one, but it's mostly fitness equipment and flooring and mirrors. And just think of like a YMCA or a Crunch Fitness.
Mhm.
Anything you see in that gym, that's what we supply. All the way down to the foundation, so the flooring that you walk on. But that thing is, it's a full service offer now.
Yeah, and you are located here in Charlotte.
Yes.
One of the largest equipment
Yeah.
wholesalers in the city.
As of about 6 months ago, we are officially the largest fitness equipment distributor in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Congratulations. Considering you started in 2020. I mean, this is still relatively new within the last 6 years.
Yeah.
How did you get started in this? And I ask that because, reselling is, I feel like, one of the most accessible side hustles out there. Like, as you mentioned, you can really do this with anything. I know that people do it with antiques or jewelry or fashion, anything. You chose workout equipment. How did you get started with this?
I'm going to explain. So this is somewhat of a long story, but I'll explain all the things that didn't work.
Okay.
So I actually started back, man, I have entrepreneurial bones from my grandpa. So way back in the day, my grandpa, worked for the electric company for 30 years and was in real estate on the side for most of those. And he kind of passed that along to his kids. So I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug real early just because of him and talking with him about what he did. And so for years I did electronic goods flipping from like old VCRs and TVs from Goodwill on eBay. I did Dungeons and Dragons dice sets. I tried to start my own company there.
Wow.
I did, when I was a kid, I would like try to resell like candy and other stuff to kids on my block.
So you've always kind of had a
Pretty much. Yeah. And I find that it's as you know, like a lot of folks in full-time, it's their little escape from reality.
Mhm.
And for me, it was just something that I really, really enjoyed because it was my own and then I could just kind of do on the side. So none of that really ever was something I was super passionate about. I mean, I always had fun with it and always made a little bit of cash, but like, especially the Dungeons and Dragons dice sets, I could never get that off the ground. I didn't know marketing or I didn't know anything.
How old were you?
related to that. I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, when I started that. And it was really frustrating because I could never get something really going that would be some sort of sustainable income that I could do on the side. But when COVID hit, I had been into the fitness world for, probably at least 5 or 10 years. I've been doing CrossFit for many, many years, all through college and high school. And a funny thing about CrossFit, I was skinny. I got skinnier. I got toned, but like I got way skinnier from CrossFit. I listened to, the CrossFit podcast, the powerlifting podcast, the strongman podcast, and those guys are like roided up, jacked up, like
Protein for breakfast.
Oh my
lunch, and
gosh.
dinner.
And they don't pull any punches. So the thing I loved about those guys is they were honest as the day is long about all the PDs and stuff that they were taking. And not that I'm on any, but like I just appreciated the bluntness of all of those guys. And I love that environment. So I was listening to it with a buddy of mine when we were working out and just talking to him about like, I really like this stuff. during COVID, I had bought my first squat rack. It's from a company called Titan. And I flipped it because it was too thin and I just wanted something that was beefier. And so I was like, I'll sell this thing. I doubled my money. It was right at the height of COVID, right at the beginning. And I flipped that thing to get a nicer squat rack from a company that was local and doubled my money. And then I go, you know what? I bet there's a market here for something. Maybe it's fitness equipment, maybe it's something else, but it seemed like it was fitness equipment. So I started buying and selling like a lot of people do, used equipment. And then I do a little bit of touch up and refurbishing and refinishing.
And where do you buy from?
So initially it was just literally Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. Yes, you had guys that were trying to I don't know why they were doing this, but they were trying to get rid of like small little home gym setups, fitness gear and like Marcy plates and cast iron plates and stuff that they had in their, that a grandmother might have had in their
And
basement.
those things can be expensive.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, you had plates back then should have been going for 50 cents a pound. They were going for upwards of $3 a pound or more. And so you could flip something if you found a big lot of stuff that was, at a good rate, and then you could piece it out. So you could buy a bunch of plates and then sell them for X. And sometimes you won, sometimes you lost. I mean, I was driving, my wife, Angel, I was driving, at 6, 8, 10 o'clock at night after my day job, trying to find all this stuff and then flip it. And
I do find it people that have successful side hustles, a lot of them have partners who really support them.
Yeah.
Because it on top of a full-time job too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. And speaking of a full-time job, you had one when you started.
Absolutely. So I was working for a Fortune 100 company, and I was in financial services on the tech side, then on product side, so business. And I flipped between the two because I was super unsatisfied with, I was putting Band-Aids on gaping wounds, essentially, in non-technical speak. And I got really frustrated at that. So eventually they actually gave us an opportunity to leave the company with kind of a package, so to say. So, and at the time I was running the side hustle in parallel with my full-time job. It was a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape, a lot of nonsense, a lot of stuff you hear, TikToks about, like my boss does this, my boss did that.
Yeah.
And I had good and bad bosses, but like bureaucracy and bad management, I mean, I ran into a lot of that. And so I'm very, very, very conservative when it comes to like financials, because that's my background.
Yeah.
And my wife, speaking of, supportive spouses, I told her about this, and I go, I'm thinking about maybe taking them up on the offer, maybe going somewhere else. And for this side business thing, like this fitness equipment thing, I really love this. And she goes, how about you quit your job yesterday? I was in shock. I mean, she's like, how about you quit it now, like a year ago, and start this thing now?
So she was on board with, I mean, it is a risk.
Yeah.
It is a risk.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like this was a decision that you guys made together, but was there a point where you were like, look, I'm making X amount of money, maybe a percentage of my salary? Was there a point that you felt comfortable making enough where you're like, okay, this actually makes sense?
Yeah. We were close to approaching what I was making just as a full-time salaried employee. I knew that was going to drop off, especially as COVID teetered out. But if I could build a business enough to get it back to that point, it would be fine. So I did my own mental simulations of the business. So I looked for other businesses that have been successful during downtimes, like survived a COVID or a recession. There were a bunch of them that had, the same business model and survived multiple recessions. And so I used that, and I basically mimicked some of that business model and then added my own flavor to it. And about 6 months into this side hustle, that was when I decided to make the jump. Because again, I'm super conservative when it comes to all that.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to make the jump without.
But people will be working out,
yeah,
hopefully this way forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. And back in the 60s and 70s, it wasn't necessarily as big of a fad as it was now. But I tell you what, Taylor, COVID and home gyms. Oh my
yeah,
word.
One of them.
Holy cow. It's crazy. Well, it's crazy though, because now you have like you have home gyms, and people are crazy about there's a home gym conference that is every single year. It's the biggest one. It's the only one in the United States. And so we go to that. But I mean, that thing couldn't have started without this explosion in the home gym market. And now we have a hybrid model. So people have home gyms and still have a commercial gym membership. They still have a home gym. So that's here to stay. And hadn't it not been for that, this thing wouldn't have ever gotten legs.
This was like the perfect time.
Oh, it was incredible.
Career-wise, pandemic.
Yeah.
An upside to that.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and then one more question before we head to the break, but you have expanded quite a lot, even since the last time I've been
Yep.
to your warehouse.
Yep, absolutely. So the progression of the business was side hustle, 6 months, full time, get a, I was driving my wife crazy. So we had a shed in the backyard that we literally pre-built specifically for the business. Then I added a 2-car temporary carport. Then I added a pod. And at that point, my wife goes, "This is enough, Ashton. We need to go. You need to get a space." I was like, but. She's like, "No." We went 2,000 square feet warehouse, flipped, got 4,000 square feet, moved again, and this is all within 6 months. We moved every 6 months, and then a 16,000 square foot warehouse, which that you talk about jumping off a cliff, that was like diving off of a ledge.
Yeah.
And then now today we have 44,000 square feet in Charlotte, which I never in my entire life thought we would get here this fast.
And you've hired more people.
Yeah. So it was just me starting out, and we got contracts and things just off of that, which is crazy. So we subbed some stuff out, some stuff I did on my own. Now we have anywhere from 14 to 16 folks, depending on if we have part-timers or guys jumping in, but we can do just about anything. I mean, huge jobs. We do YMCA, Charlotte Fire, massive like installs and extractions all over the East Coast, really. And we're, like I said, a large distributor now.
Well, you are an example of a side hustle, literally starting from a shed to then. So on that note, we are going to take one quick break. We'll be right back. This is Taylor Young with Side Hustle. If you're enjoying this episode, you can watch all of our original programs. Just search Queen City News Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, or Samsung TV. Now let's get back to the episode. So when it comes to reselling, is the money instantaneous, considering you are essentially buying and selling immediately?
Funny thing is, if you have a means of transportation, even if it's a bike, you can actually find stuff for free. So there are websites out there. Nextdoor might be one of them, but there's plenty of websites you can go to. People are just throwing out what they call junk. For you, if you can refurbish that stuff, or even if you can't, if you can just flip it, it's totally accessible. There's stories I've heard of. Follow Gary Vaynerchuk, and he talks all about side hustles all the time. If you can find something that somebody doesn't want, that's not valuable to them, but is to the next guy down the road, and you have a market for it, there's endless opportunities. There doesn't even need to be an initial monetary investment other than you hitting the street and going and getting it.
It's so funny. When I moved out of South End, I did all of my furniture for free.
Yeah.
Being, I'm like, just take it so I don't have to pick up mover or to throw it out. Like 70 people message me. So people are out there looking for free items like this, probably to flip them, fix them. And you're kind of doing a similar thing just with workout equipment.
There's a guy that works for us that actually flips vintage furniture. So he's exactly the kind of client that you're talking about.
I could see myself getting it.
There you go. But it's out there. I mean, it's just, if people want to expend the effort, the big barrier to entry with any of this, including the business I'm in, I can give away all the secrets about how we do business.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does it. Actually, I did this. So there's a video, if you go back about a couple of years, about what auction site I specifically went to starting out to get all of our equipment. I put that video out there, and Taylor, you would have thought like, oh, everybody's going to hop on this. It's going to get blown up, and like nobody's going to be able to go to this site afterward.
Yeah.
I had so many doubters and haters in the comments section. Oh, they don't do shipping. Oh, you could never do that. There's no way the prices are this cheap, blah, 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 blah. Nobody went and actually did the thing. There were maybe 2 comments that were like, oh, I know about this and I've done it before.
Yeah.
Nobody does it. It's hard, but you do it, and you can be successful. You can even give away the secrets on how to do this, and people just don't care.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if there's a misconception of this just seems like a lot of work.
It is.
And will I actually make my money for it? So people are just like,
Yeah.
I'd rather kind of not. And then let's talk about pricing.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you are spending money to purchase this equipment. And I'm also sure that, prices vary a lot. How do you kind of tackle the pricing angle of this? You have to make money.
Oh, yeah. This is so, oh my goodness, this is so insane. So for the car market, you've got Kelley Blue Book, right?
Yeah.
For the fitness market, as huge as it is, and there are thousands of resellers all over the United States, there is no Kelley Blue Book for fitness equipment, and there never has been. So it's literally stick your thumb in the air, figure out a price, look on Facebook Marketplace and guess at it. And then if somebody snaps it up because they have a client that'll pay 3 times what you're selling it for, they'll buy it. Or if there's a client that you have locally that's just residential. But like it's searching through existing listings or eBay or figuring out through experience, which is most of our stuff now, what this thing should cost. If you know something's hot, you can mark it up significantly. Most of the time, and this is the dirty little secret of this industry, it's literally a guessing game, which is insane. So if you have a guy in your team that's been in, like ours, that's been in the business for 30 years, they're really good at pinpointing, this is what it should sell for. Historically, I've been able to do this.
Okay.
And COVID jacked all these prices up, but still. And then you just kind of adjust from there. And hopefully you have some, like we have enough history now where we know. But my goodness.
At first, it was just kind of a guessing game.
Unstructured.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And speaking of jacking up prices, I actually met you because we were doing a story on tariffs and how. So is that, talk about some of the obstacles that you have faced that maybe surprised you. I'm sure tariffs were one of them.
Oh, tariffs was like taking a sledgehammer to the fitness industry and just taking the knees out. So when you have 50 to 100% tariffs, depending on when that was, all of the prices that you're charging as a distributor have to be passed on to consumer. Otherwise, you are literally eating it or losing money. So most of the prices being charged to us by the manufacturer were either getting eaten by the manufacturer or then passed on to the client. And it sucked because, you had easily 30 to 50% jumps in some cases on just top line pricing. And then, because people like making money, if they come down, your pricing is not going to get adjusted. It's just going to stay where it is. So inflation takes its toll on top of everything else.
Inflation doesn't rewind. Locks it in.
No, not at all. And some manufacturers, to be fair, there was one that did a good job of bringing prices back down just a hair. But still, I mean, everybody wants to make more money. So if the market can hold it, they'll just keep up. So it's so up and down right now that it's really hard to stabilize that pricing structure even today.
Was there anything else that caught you off guard?
Goodness, the amount of people that are willing to screw you in this industry.
Like scams?
Oh, absolutely. So I had a guy. So there was a guy that we initially did business with who actually still is in the fitness world. I don't know how. There are a lot of scammers that come back around, and this guy basically took us for $20,000. And this was when I was the very first time I got that warehouse, that 2,000 square foot warehouse. I was going to stock all of that equipment, that used equipment that I was getting from this guy in that warehouse. We got about halfway through and he just ghosted us. So 20 grand, just about half of that was just gone.
That could be enough to sink someone's business.
100%. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. And I was literally sitting on this. I distinctly remember this because I called my wife. I was sitting there unscrewing the bolts on a squat rack by myself with all these movers around me trying to help me get all this equipment out. And I'm literally, for the first time in my entire life, I had a panic attack because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is too much. And this is somewhat unrelated because the guy was still around to the situation falling apart. But, I call my wife and she goes, I just love her. She goes, you'll be fine. Just get over it.
She seems really cool.
She was amazing. So, and then I just go, you know what? You're right. So we'll be fine. And eventually, and we were, and we made up the money and it all worked out. But yeah, there's a lot of those guys. And we've had a guy, just recently, I have $3 million in the bank. Can I give you payments in $1,000 gift card installments for a $20,000 order?
No, you may not.
And I was like, why are you, if you're a millionaire, just, it's a drop in the bucket, right? No, it was fake.
And on a positive note, you have also done a lot of really good with your business, specifically with first responders.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I love this. So I have cancer in my family. Both my sister and my dad. My dad actually still has recurring bouts of this sometimes. Had my sister, we thought, had stage 4, and my dad was pretty darn close to that. And I had a lot of firefighters and police officers and EMS coming into our warehouse that were in rural fire departments that didn't have any money, or they might have been from like Charlotte, but they just didn't have the funds to throw at this stuff, or nobody was providing them with anything. So I went, let's fix that. Because the number 1 and number 2 killers of a firefighter specifically, and honestly police officers, are either cancer, specifically for fire and cardiac arrest for both fire and police. And you think about diet and all that stuff. They eat well, don't get me wrong, but like it's a killer. And then just the sitting on the couch. So we designed a program to make all of that fitness equipment that they might be getting, put those in packages, heavily discount them, basically eat it on margin. And then my goal would be have a gym in every fire station in the country to get those cancer rates, cardiac arrest rates, and most importantly, injury rates down at the station level. And it has absolutely blown up. So one of the projects we did recently was a 35 station refresh of Charlotte Mecklenburg Fire Department. And we did a bunch of racks and a bunch of other equipment for them. But that was to help with the health rates and get the health outcomes up and the injury rates down. And man, every time you say, hey, can I help you with like finances, or can I work on getting your cardiac arrest rates down? If you say, well, those firefighters, every firefighter knows a guy that has literally died of a heart attack in the station. And I just want to eliminate that entirely. Like we need to cut all of that out. And as much as we can do to help that, that's why that program exists.
So you're making them being able to access cheaper.
Exactly. And just more accessible. So a lot of stations they'll go to the gym, or it'll be right down the road. Mm-hmm. But you get a call and then you just got to jet out.
Yeah, it's easier if it's in the station.
Exactly. Yeah. And they don't have it accessible right there. So there's no motivation to like drive to the gym. And then if they are at the gym and they got to get called, then they have to go back to the station, get changed, and unless they're in gear. And that is so not just inconvenient, but also from a timing perspective.
I was going to say better for health and for the people they're responding to.
Exactly.
Well, great. We're going to take one more break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Side Hustle. Okay, so I do feel like a lot of people who watch this podcast, they might be maybe thinking about a side hustle, and reselling might be something that they're into, wholesale. What is your advice for someone who is watching this and might think, oh, I can potentially do that?
Yeah. This is not to be discouraging, but if you're not passionate about the side hustle, don't do it, because it is going to require an insane level of grinding. I'll give you one anecdotal story just to demonstrate how hard this can be. But I loved it, and I ate up every minute of it, even though it was brutal. Had a trip down to Florida, was taking out an entire sheriff's department worth of gym equipment. It was probably a 10,000 square foot facility. It was basically me and a bunch of guys that were local trying to get this all out. The guy I was with, talking about getting taken advantage of, drove through the weigh station and got not caught, but he was overweight. He stopped at the Florida line, and I'm in Charlotte. So what I had to do, I am not joking, is I drove from Miami, Florida to Charlotte, took 4 hours. I just slept for 4 hours, came back, got the rest of his equipment out of that truck, and then drove back to Charlotte. It was essentially the equivalent of me sleeping 4 hours in 3 days. That's the kind of
like supply chain logistics that you're also
it was insane.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of grind that I'm talking about. That can happen, and it doesn't have to be that brutal. Like, you don't have to go out of state for stuff. Just get ready. If you're in a full-time job, like, just do it on the side and make it easier on yourself. You don't have to drive to Florida and back, but expect that you're going to work late hours. But the reason I said, if you're not passionate about it, don't start is, if you're working at 8, 9, 10 at night, especially if you have a family, that really digs into a lot of personal time. And if you're not passionate about it, you are going to abandon it. So if it's literally just, I want to make some extra cash, just do Uber, do Lyft, do the stuff on the side. But if it's your thing, make sure you actually care about it, because you don't want it to drop off in a month or two. That side hustle, like you said, it can grow into something much, much bigger. But there is a level of grind to this that you need to be prepared for. That being said, it is insanely rewarding. For the first time in my life, I never understood why guys said, I look forward to Mondays and not Saturdays, and I do now.
Really?
I have never said that in my entire life, and I thought people were stupid
for saying that. Go to work.
Yes. And I was like, so then when I got into this, about a year in, I realized I actually kind of dislike the weekend and really look forward to Monday, because I get to run this thing. I get to have fun with this thing. I have an amazing team behind me. And
that's a win just in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So if that's your side hustle, 100% go for it. Just get ready for a little bit of a grind up front, and as you go along, it'll 100% get easier. That's my.
So where do you go from here? You started in 2020, expanded. You're helping local first responders. You've done a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did watch a video where you said one day you hope to launch your own product.
Yes.
Is that still a goal?
That's this year.
Really?
No joke. So we're working on a strength line. We have flooring. We're the exclusive distributor for Hammerclad. And then we're going to be developing a strength line as its own separate entity. That is going to be strictly catered towards high end. If you could, there's a gym out there called Powerhouse. It's bodybuilders, powerlifters, strongmen. It's oriented towards those types.
Mm-hmm.
This equipment is going to be built for those guys. So you can have it in a home, and you can have it in a light commercial environment, we'll call it, and it'll hold up just fine. But it's meant to be absolutely destroyed and still hold up, similar to what the stuff we offer to fire departments. And that's what that's going to be built for. So it's going to be somewhat overbuilt equipment for like higher end gyms. But that's the goal is create this line that is not just playing in the same generic marketplace as everything you see on Amazon and Walmart, but its own unbelievably premium line of strength equipment for guys that are serious about lifting.
I have to say that video that you said that in was from a couple years ago.
Oh wow!
So you did it.
Yay!
Well, thank you so much. Here's your chance to kind of tell people where they can find you, your website. Go
Excellent.
for it.
If you want to see my goofy face on social media, anywhere that you type in at Freedom Fitness Equipment is where you'll find us. And then our website is freedomfitnessequipment.com. And you can always call us.
We will catch you next time.
Full icon energy, working the angles 1, 2, 3. You got that look to a T. Full icon energy 1, 2, 3.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.